I know this is streaming really beautifully on YouTube as well. So if you're having a hard time here on LinkedIn, I'd recommend just popping over to YouTube because that's been working flawlessly in that space there as well. But just a quick, just let me know where you're from. Let me know if you're watching live. Let me know if you're someone that's going to be watching this as a replay and what city you're from. I do usually just see the number of people that are here, so I don't know who's watching unless you comment. So please comment. What we're going to do today is actually something that we've done in the past. What The format is really easy. What we typically do is we post a workplace wellness blog every month. And after 3 months are up, which is the end of the quarter, we do something like this where we do a recap and talk about some of those key messages. So over the last few months, we had some pretty powerful themes. We were discussing different burnout profiles. What does that look like? And what are some specific strategies for those burnout profiles? We also wrote a really interesting blog on polished workplace communication. So that was really cool. And then also mindful mind wandering for creativity and focus, which was the last one. It's actually doing really well. I think it's one of our most famous ones or favorite ones from our readers. Now, the best part about these blogs that we write is that we're not just writing it, we're applying it. These theories are being actively applied by me, the clients that I work with, but also the amazing humans that are here on stage with me, all the Jeddy Wellness ambassadors who are part of Jeddy Wellness. So, a quick recap of what the program is, who these individuals are, very passionate about health and well being, psychology, performance coaching. Everyone has such a diverse background, but the one common thread here is that we all care about workplace well-being. The ambassador program started in last fall. It was on my vision board for a while. We started it last fall and decided to bring in a few different individuals very selectively into the program to test it out, to be able to expand and the voice of science just out of my voice into other voices and figure out how they can contribute to the mission of the company, but also be part of events like this so you can hear from them as well. So they are also growing their personal brands on LinkedIn. They are applying some of these work life strategies in their own spaces as well. And as they grow, we've grown. So that's actually been really powerful. Brand awareness, brand reach, and just overall metrics that I've seen. I even posted about that a couple weeks ago. Everything's changed, so it's really good. Darren, thank you for watching from LinkedIn. I know the link changed, so I hope some of the other participants from the previous event page will follow and come here. I'm really hoping that can happen, but I will pop into the other page while we have our first speaker speak. So we have 5 different speakers here. I think I'm missing. Who am I missing? Am I missing someone here? Am I missing Furkhan? Or is Furkhan here too? Or did we miss? Oh no, there's Furkhan. Furkhan's back.
Yeah.
Okay, Furkhan's here. He will be our first speaker. Furkan's was one of the first individuals in our cohort when we started the program. So the intention of this live, we're going to be live for about 30 minutes or so because there's 5 of us. And what I want to do is spend some time, have them explain to you who they are, a little bit of their experience with Jetty Wellness Ambassador Program. But most importantly, I want each one of them to highlight one strategy from our Q2 blog series that's really resonated very well with them, and how are they applying that in their work life. So that is what the theme of this 30 minutes is going to be about. So not a lot of me speaking, a lot of them speaking. So let's start this off with Furkan. Let's get you started. Introduce yourself. Tell us about your investment and experience with Jetty Wellness, and what strategy have you selected? And Lisa, nice to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. You can hear me all right, correct?
Yes, yes.
Yes. All right, perfect. Yeah, so my name's Furkhan Dandia. Yeah, I've been one of the OG ambassadors since last fall, so that's been great experience just to see the growth and how even our conversations and what we're posting about has evolved since then. A little bit about me in terms of background. I worked in corporate for 20 years, oil and gas engineer. Had some mental health issues, which allowed me to move into psychology, which I had been planning for a while. So I'm working full time now as a therapist, which has been phenomenal. And I do see a lot of the things we talk about in our posts around burnout. So I've seen it firsthand, experienced it, and now I'm hopefully also educating others and bringing it to their awareness. As far as topics or like some of the Q2 blogs that Sumana was alluding to that I've enjoyed at least paying, just getting involved with and spending time reflecting on. The one that stood out to me the most was the kind of the mindful wandering piece, and I had to really sit with that because it didn't seem intuitive to me at the beginning, but the more I reflected on it, the more it started making sense, and the more I was able to implement it in my life around just letting, as much as when I'm working with people, when we're talking about meditation, there's this whole notion of, well, when you're practicing mindfulness, you've got to be really focused and you can't let your mind wander or be ruminating about your thoughts. It's being focused, especially on your breath. But sometimes when I've experimented with this, I find like I come up with creative solutions to a lot of the personal problems I'm encountering or wrestling with in my life. So that's been a very helpful exercise for me. And I did try to reflect that back when we were talking about this blog at the time. So I'll leave it at that. But that's kind of been my experience so far, especially with the Q2 blogs.
Thank you. And how would you, Furkan, how would you, for the folks who haven't read the Mindful Mind Wandering post, how would you describe it to them? What is it?
Well, I think the main thing is to focus on creativity, right? So that is the purpose of mindfulness. But at the end of the day, when you're what I like to preach to people when they're looking at mindfulness is being able to play the role of the observer. So not necessarily running away with your thoughts, but how can you just sit there and observe and have awareness of what's coming up, because there can be so much information behind what you're observing and bringing to your conscious awareness. And then just really being able to name the emotions or the feelings that may arise from what you're becoming aware of and not necessarily reacting to it, right? So sometimes we can label things as good or bad. It doesn't have to be so black and white. It could just be, and that's where that non-judgment comes in with that practice.
And you're able to use some of this in your work life through your coaching and with your clients.
Yeah, I mean, I do encourage a lot of my clients who are struggling, because one of the things I've observed, especially when I'm working with men, there's a lot of shame because they're comparing themselves to others. They're looking at outside information, that how are others perceiving me? Am I measuring up to specific standards? And there's so much external focus, and then that's where I encourage them to bring the focus inward, and using something like this, the mindful wandering can be very helpful, where they're just observing what's going on inside of them rather than focusing on the outside world.
Awesome. Well, thank you for kicking us out, starting us off on that one, because Mindful Mind Wandering was also one of our most read blog. I looked at the data this morning, and it seems to be something that people really enjoy. So there's a lot more that we want to do with it. And I'll pick your brain on that one as we get closer to our summer strategy of repurposing some of our best content. So thank you, Furkan. My next speaker, who I'm really excited about, Hannah Nees. What an interesting woman. I am so happy that she's been, behind the scenes with Jeddy Wellness for a very long time. I would say even before the ambassador program started, helping us up with all kinds of content development through her experience just traveling all over the world. And then slowly getting excited to bring her in to write some blogs for us for Workplace Wellness Hour. And then the third step was officially getting her to say yes to the ambassador program, which I was very excited about. So, Hannah, please introduce yourself and just walk us through your experience with the Jeddy Wellness Ambassador program, and a strategy from Q2 that really spoke to you, and maybe a bonus strategy because you also write for Workplace Wellness Hour. Over to you.
Hey, that was a really great description, and I appreciate you introducing me. Um, I've been an ambassador now since I think beginning of 2025. But like Sumana said, she's slowly reeled me into being involved in Jetty Wellness. I've been fortunate enough to be involved in Jetty Wellness from a couple different angles. I work right now full time for a huge company, Delta Airlines, and with that, I have the ability to do a lot of travel, and I've been able to utilize some of the travel too. I think I first started out with Jetty Wellness doing interviews for small groups of people to kind of get fresh perspectives on some of the topics that we were discussing and some feedback, and then record those answers, and we made them into videos, and that was really a fun thing to start with, and something I was so not familiar with. So that brought me out of my shell. And then now I've been writing the Workplace Wellness Hour blogs each month, and it's been a really neat opportunity. I haven't been able to attend a lot of them live, so I don't feel as involved in the community that everyone is so passionate about that surrounds Workplace Wellness Hour. But I do watch behind the scenes and get to just take all the great strategies and all the best parts away from it. So it's been a great experience. But I have to follow Furkhan and say my favorite strategy for this quarter was definitely the mindful mind wandering. I think that he said it took him a moment to kind of have it resonate with him, but for me, I connect with this so much. Um, my thoughts are so all over the place, and I think that it's such a beautiful tool that it's really cool to see the research and the science behind it. It can be expanded in so many directions, and also does pair really well with a lot of the other Workplace Wellness Hour and like blog concepts that we have covered. I think one of the most straightforward ones would be Jason's blog on recovery. So just having that like cognitive recovery paired with the mindful mind wandering, and that like deliberate meditation, but in a, like Furkan said, a very non-judgmental way for yourself. Um, Something that I think that it helps with a lot is the connecting seemingly unrelated pieces of information or ideas, and letting yourself kind of just like put together things that you may not have thought about in the first place, or revisit problems from new angles. And I think that's really what I've utilized it most as. There's been, I think, a really great strategy that I see a lot of potential for, and that I've used. Um, well, I see a purpose for too, whether it's like in the workplace immediately with meetings. One of the strategies that we said in the blog were to start meetings with like really open and transparent communication, to kind of just like foster the production of those ideas, and to let people hear each other, and then to follow that by that like kind of focused and quiet mindfulness side of the mind wandering, where you're able to reflect on everything that you discussed. And so
Mm.
that can be also with in a session with a client. And like I think that the timing of the mindful mind wandering can be super powerful. There's a That's a great way to utilize it, is to be really intentional with the timing.
Yeah, no, I love that. We in the blog we've given you a few different elements of the dimensions of mindfulness, which Hannah already discussed a few of them. So I would recommend the folks who like this concept of mindful mind wandering to go take a look at that, because what we've also given you is like, how do I make this work in my workplace? Like, how do I apply this? It's nice to have these theories. I think we love theories, but where the gap is usually theory to practice. So we'd love for you to take a look at that. Hannah, how often do you find yourself using mindful mind wandering in kind of your home life, not your work life?
all the time. And it's really with that cognitive recovery piece. I'm very good about, I mean, especially now that I'm immersed in a lot of these strategies, all like hearing about them, writing about them. It's, I try to be very deliberate with setting aside electronics, setting aside even books. Like, I mean, people have recovery in many different ways, but for me, I think sometimes just like, of course, the um, being silent and the lack of having something that's like stimulating you allows you to. I I I utilize the mindful mind wandering in those moments of quiet time, even if it's for like 5-10 minutes, and it just really resets you.
Awesome. Thank you, Hannah. Love hearing from you. Now, I wonder if the third speaker is also going to pick mind wandering or some other strategy. Our third speaker is Jason Roeder, also from our first cohort, has been around since the beginning of the program when it was first launched in September 2025. And he is also writing extra content for leadership now. So we have a leadership space here, and we're curating some very specific research-based strategies that Jason leads, and lots of other cool things happening with Jason and his university as well. So we'll get to that later. But Jason, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your experience with Jeddy and your favorite Q2 strategy that's been most useful to you, and how you've seen it sort of play out in your work environment, coaching environment, school environment, any of those. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you for that introduction. Just like a little bit about myself, just like Hannah and Jackson, who will introduce themselves soon. We all started in sports psychology or performance psychology, but however, after I transferred over to IO psychology, which is business psychology, technically what we're doing here. And yeah, I've been loving stepping into the role of leadership associate for Jeddy Wellness, writing all those blogs. They really mean a lot given my family business background, so I really love applying those life experiences within those blogs. I would have to say my favorite one. I'm trying to be different from others, so I'm going to hint upon the three burnout profiles. So a lot of what I try to do is try to put a lot of agency within my work. So as you can see within my blogs or within my posts, I'm very creative. And on top of like writing the blogs as well as working in Jetty Wellness, I also have my own private practice where I do performance coaching for both athletes, middle management, as well as execs, which is going pretty well. So on Monday, per se, I would be going like 3 back-to-back meetings. So that could be very challenging and it could be very overwhelming. So using some of the tips I use is either doing some like deep breathing or some mindfulness, which actually works very well because that's a part of my coaching philosophy, in order to really calm down so that I'm not like overwhelming myself. I'm back into the zone where I can function the best. And that's really allows me to align better with my work rather than becoming too overextended. So I would say like a mixture of both of those strategies really helps me like perform the best and helps like others so that they can perform their best as well.
And what was your favorite part about being in the Jetty Wellness Ambassador Program?
Yeah, I think my favorite part, I always say this, I always thought posting on LinkedIn was very superficial. Um, I really just like looked at people. I saw some people even posting about like them proposing and being like, here's what I learned about sales from proposing. And I was like, why is everybody doing this? But no, like I said, I really think it like creates this sense of like agency or creativity similar to mindful wandering, where I kind of just like can post whatever I want. And then what I've learned is just there's a large community on LinkedIn. Some people I've never met before that like share the same insights or share the same like interests as me, and it's something that's like really nice because then I'll just have people reach out to me, have a coffee chat with them, and really discuss. Like it's really the highlight of my day where like I'm able to just have a human connection, and it really just like allows some alleviation throughout the day.
I love that. And in the Burnout Profiles blog, we distinguish the three different elements of what different profiles you could possibly have. Um, if you're someone who's feeling like really disengaged from your work environment, or someone who's feeling overextended with that high exhaustion piece, or if you're someone who's just feeling like I am not very good at my job and I have that inefficacy. So what we've done is tease those out, because you may not have all domains all the time, and you might have one that is specifically you. For me, I remember mine was very much at the beginning, that ineffectiveness, like I don't think I'm a good public health worker, and then it changed to that exhaustion. So in that space, if you are dealing with something as the domain of ineffectiveness, I would say, use the strategy that we've given you, which is about building competency through upskilling. And then we've also talked to you a little bit about managing workload. Jason, you shared, some of that stress performance curve, and what and how you feel like when it comes to uh, capacity versus capability, and knowing like maybe I do need to step out and take a deep breath because I have a jam-packed day. So that this was a really cool blog. I really like this one because it was so different from any other blogs that I've seen, and I was happy to hear that this was one of your favorite ones. Okay, let's go on to our next speaker, who I believe is Paulina. Paulina and Jackson, after her, are two of our newest ambassadors. But Paulina has been working behind the scenes with Jeddy for actually a lot longer. I would say a year and a half, probably along the same time as Hannah. But she was helping us write um, the um, the white paper, strategies for cultivating a culture of health and wellness. She was a co-author on that white paper, and then now she's helping me with some other clients. Right now with the University of Alberta, she's my primary research assistant for that project, and also said yes to becoming an ambassador. So very cool, Paulina. I know she's very busy, but thank you for being here. I am happy to have you. Tell us about yourself, share with us how this program has helped you, or shaped your well-being lens, and also any takeaways that you've embedded in your day-to-day life from our Q2 blog series. Over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the introduction. So yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've been with Jeddy Wellness, and I'm blessed every day in every capacity of working with the team. My background predominantly lies in public health. I got my master's and actually did my final paper on workplace wellness within school districts and within teachers. So that kind of sparked my interest from the get-go of how workplace wellness plays such an important role. And I feel like I've carried this on to many different roles. Right now I'm working with our provincial health agency, I'm going to call it, as we're going through a little bit of a transition time. But I always find myself doing kind of projects at the side of my desk, incorporating some workplace wellness in whatever way, shape, or form makes sense. And, these blogs and all of the tips and experiences I hear from people in this space really help with that. And it looks like we're twinning today, because my favorite blog was also regarding the burnout profiles. For me, a really powerful tool in everyday life is self-awareness. And, burnout has become this big word that potentially like we need to delve into a little bit more. So having the capacity to better understand, as Sumana mentioned, the disengaged worker, the overextended worker, or the ineffective worker can really help. There's some quote that I'm absolutely going to butcher right now, but identifying kind of the problem is halfway to solving it or whatnot, right? So once you know kind of where the potential is to do some work, that's where we can really kind of focus on supporting people or ourselves when it comes to burnout. So for me, I think a lot of aspects within my workplace, really relies on building that social support. So whether or not you're primarily a disengaged worker with that high cynicism, trying to identify, or talk to people about how they're feeling and how they're potentially burnt out is, starting that social support piece. So I do think they're intertwined in many different ways, and it's really great because you're going to hit, couple birds or more with one stone as you're working towards potentially mitigating a lot of these burnout factors.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Sumana, for putting that quote in. Yeah, that's exactly
That's
what I paraphrased.
I thought that was the one you were referring to. I'm like, I think you and I have talked about this a lot,
Yeah,
so I think
yeah.
that was the one you were referring to. Yeah, no, that was really cool. Like it's a, like we definitely need to spend more time, and I think over the and I think Hannah knows this, the number of times I've used the frequency intensity time type framework, the fit framework for social connection, in all our blogs. Sometimes I feel like I'm overdoing it, but there's so many spaces within our messages where I'm like, this will fit, pun intended, this will fit, and this would be perfect for the connection piece that seems to be a problem between leaders and teams. So I'm glad you kind of mentioned that. And again, the purpose of this blog was to really like go out of the big word, hey, I'm burned out. Fine, we all know that. Let's talk about like the other elements underneath it and identify some solutions that are so specific. So I'm glad that you and Jason both kind of like this one. I would love to go over to our last speaker, Jackson. Again, fairly new to the Jeddy Wellness Program, but I've absolutely loved learning about him, his work, and some of the video content that gets posted on his LinkedIn page. If you haven't checked it out, you should. Just so powerful, so just engaging. So really love that, and so happy that he said yes. And also, he's part of his own coaching program, so he'll tell us more about that. So tell me, Jackson, who you are, your story a little bit, your yes to Jeddy, how that's been, and what was your Q2 focus that's helped you navigate your work and your life and your community.
Hey, Sumana. Yeah, thank you so much for an introduction. I'm honored to be bringing up the grand finale of this great group of folks, all from very different backgrounds. So always fun to people re-explain what they do and how they do it. It's always it's really cool to see the diversity that we have in this group. But for me, as Jason alluded to as well, my background is in sports psychology, sport performance psychology. And so I am part of a private practice that sees private clients, mostly youth, but plenty of college and now some adults as well. Helping with the mental framework surrounding performance, the psychology that lies behind it. I've also entered into the education sphere, taking life and mental skills to children ages K through 9. And so I had a lot of fun learning how to translate all these cool life and mental skills from the sports psychology sphere and applying it to kids as they learn all sorts of life lessons along the way. Learning how to speak their language has been a lot of fun. There's nothing that'll make you feel old like learning new slang and feeling like yours is out of date. So I've really enjoyed that aspect of my career as well. My involvement with the Jeddy Wellness Ambassador Program has been great. Someone alluded to the community in the workplace wellness, and that's really been my favorite part of the position, is just seeing how many people attend these workplace wellness hours and are trying to use these strategies and are successfully using these strategies in their lives, in their business. Some business owners applying it to their business, some employees that are offering up the information to their bosses in order to better their workplace environment. The total investment from people that join on a regular basis and are just really invested in what we have to say, it's really flattering to know that there are people out there that really value our evidence-based research. Or our evidence-based practice. And so, yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. As far as the strategy from Q2, I thought for a minute there I was going to be the lone soldier on the burnout profiles, hearing 2 in a row go to the mindful mind wandering. But now I'm technically part of the majority in saying that the burnout profile was definitely my favorite post and topic of discussion. I think that I definitely identified very strongly with the disengaged profile, particularly in form of constant distraction. So I find when I overwork myself and allocate too much time to work and not enough time to the free mind to kind of touch on the mindful mind wandering. But when I allocate a ton of time to work and not enough my mind will start forcing in those free thoughts, those to-dos, those life thoughts, outside of work, the things that I need to accomplish in my daily life. Like maybe I need to text that friend back or call someone for their birthday, or I never return that Amazon package or something like that, right? There's all these things that creep into my mind, and they'll do it during the workday if I'm not properly allocating my time. And so through the use of all of our research regarding the burnout profiles and also some further research on the distractedness in burnout, I've really enjoyed employing the strategy of a to-do list. A to-do distraction list has been one of my favorite things that I've employed, and that's essentially just when I have one of those thoughts, like I described earlier, writing them down and saying, I will do all of these things all at once. If it's thought about texting someone, or if it's a bunch of notifications, it's allocating time to spend maybe a more significant amount of time on my phone, sending those texts and making those calls than I normally would throughout the day, instead of dispersing it and trying to squeeze it into the moments throughout the day. But allocating a good 45-ish minute period at the end of the day to say, okay, I had a thought that I want to Google how many people live in this city that I'm traveling to next. And I put that down on my distraction list, and now it's my time to Google it in this 45-minute period. So I found that through the exploration of burnout, I've also found a deeper exploration of exploring my own conflict with distractedness throughout a very busy day.
Mm. Thank you so much. We do have a question here from Jay that any of you can try to answer. Let's just read it together. Please talk about how people with disabilities are impacted in the workplace, because it makes sense that individuals like myself are burnt out by the behaviors of the workplace, no matter what industry you are in. Does anybody want to share a thought about this one?
I think I can take a stab at it.
Let's hear it.
Yeah, I think it really depends on what disability you have. So like I'll first say that, but I think it really boils down to like what we said about capability and capacity. So it's like understanding with your disability what are your capabilities, what can you apply to workforce, and also the capacity so you're able to kind of set your boundaries or inform your manager of certain expectations you have or certain skills or abilities that you have so that they're in line so that you're not overworking yourself. And within that, you can upskill and really become better at your job or just become better or more engaged person and not burn out. So it's really having that self-awareness at the start and then being able to work and communicate with others like such as the fit model so that you're able to have some accountability within the workforce and not feel alone, because that could definitely be something for a neurodivergent person.
Love that. Anybody else want to take a stab at this one? How do we feel?
I'm thinking of the signature strengths and being aware of what you do well and what things that you really thrive at, the environment you work best in, and who you're around, and just being able to utilize the awareness of all of those things to not only make those that are in your work circle familiar with them, but also just be confident in the things that you stand for and do well, and then build off of that.
Yes, and that ties in really beautifully with what Jason said about capacity and capability. So, Jay, hopefully that helps a little bit. Have a look at that blog on signature strengths, and then have a look at the burnout profiles blog, which we have commented in this chat here, and have a look at that section where we talk about capacity versus capability, and hopefully that'll help you come up with some strategic evidence-based solutions for that you can maybe take it back to your employer and have a conversation about that. And I'm always happy to help you brainstorm some other solutions as well. There was another question that was sent to me by DM, which honestly I'm not sure if we can answer that, but we can try. I'll just throw it out there. There was 3 questions from Dr. Imran Rauf. He said he couldn't make it, but there was 3 questions, and I think I'm just going to select one, which was, what are employers doing to promote money management and related education? That's the question. What are employees doing to promote money management and related education? Um, any thoughts come to mind from anybody here listening, the ambassadors here?
Because I work for such a large company right now, I think I have been fortunate to be a part of some programs that pair you with, if I'm interpreting this question correctly, that pair you with services such as like Fidelity Financial Advisors, and like give you incentives in the workplace to not only learn more about different aspects of financial responsibility and money management, but to apply them a little bit, and then they are able to incentivize us to just, it's small things throughout the year, but it's a really cool way to get your employees involved, and like it kind of creates discussions among employees and leaders in the workplace too, just to be able to learn from one another and see uh, and encourage one another.
Yeah, no, I love that, Hannah. Does anybody else want to answer this one? How do we feel?
I really like Hannah's perspective on that, just knowing that Delta being such a large corporation takes measures to protect their employees from poor financial decisions, or just maybe lack of an education in some of those important fields of life. Many corporations fall behind on financial education, or even on initiatives to improve workplace wellness and things like that. Leaving employees kind of feeling scrambling in their own free time to sort things out, not feeling like they have the first step towards finding the right resources. So I really that perspective. Even I mentioned that I'm in the education sector as well, working to apply the life and mental skills to children. The school system that I work with, it's a private school, has done a lot to help some of the employees manage their finances as well. You know, there there's just a lot of our workforce is very young, and so plenty of them have come straight from graduate school, or from maybe just from their first or second job out of school, and so they don't have a lot of life experience, knowing how to allocate funds, knowing how to protect themselves against future costs, or events that could really put them at financial risk. And so there are initiatives that even my school partakes in to help educate these employees as well as just creating a sense of community to where you don't feel ridiculed to ask a question like that. I find that in these group chats, we're all asking questions that maybe some might find a little unserious, maybe even redundant. But the fact that we're all fairly young and doing all these life things for the first time, there's a sense of community that no question is silly. There are no stupid questions, as all teachers used to say as I was growing up. It's really about fostering that workplace environment to feel like you can ask and seek to gain knowledge and not feel ridiculed.
No, I love that, and I love Jay's comment and Darren's comment as well about um, organizations having access to some of these programs for financial well-being. It's too bad Felipe is not here in our show, but we've had so many conversations linking financial well-being to employee well-being, and um, organizations that can offer these as like a routine workshop that should be part of their well-being initiative. How do I don't just give me a phone number and say, hey, call EAP. They might have something for me, but like actively promote financial wellness, actively promote credit counseling, because all of us right now, especially with the state of the world, like we're all struggling in our own ways, and being able to manage money with single moms, single dads. I've heard a lot of those stories of like, hi, I don't know how to do it because my husband took care of all my money, and I don't know what TFSA means, or I don't know where my assets are. So having some of those a routine, and we say this a lot, wellness is such an active process, so actively bringing in these types of solutions. If one person's asking it, in the organization, I bet you there's 10 other people that would sign up to the exact same course and learn it. So thank you, Darren, for that comment, and as well, Jay, for talking about employee benefits through your lens there. I know we're getting close to our time up here. Just some closing remarks. We don't like to go too long. I was hoping to be done here in 5 minutes, but technical difficulties, and I can't believe my LinkedIn stream didn't work. But I've done so many of these in the last 4 years. We did a very big. I'll tell you a story. We did a very big, large. I would say we had about 400 or 500 people over 2 days to do a workplace wellness summit with multiple speakers from all over the world. This was 2 years ago. Meredith was there. Felipe actually was a speaker too. Marian Spears Carr. Lots of amazing people. And of course, we start the live on the first day from a conference center that we had booked, and the stream, it didn't work. So exactly what's happening today, but multiply that for 400 attendees and speakers, and no one knows how to join the link. And so, anyways, I almost started to cry, but my team was so great. They just said, Sumana, we have your back. We'll cover this. Don't worry about it. We'll be back on air in like a few minutes. So we had to start a new stream, and everybody just joined over, just like how everybody's joined over here. And the folks that we missed, they didn't come. We were really sad about that, but things happen, and I'm used to this. Anyways, closing remarks. Thank you for everyone who joined in and tuned in to learn about well-being. Polished workplace communication was one that was not mentioned, which I'm sad about, but have a look at that one as well, because that really just ties into the different elements, task related conversation, safety related conversation, and relationship building conversation. So, those were the three types of corporate communication strategies that we wanted to give to employees. So we gave a employee section and a leader section, so you can both identify, like, what do I need to say when I talk to my boss about safety? What do I say as a boss to my team about safety or task or relationship building? Relationship building being one that is very important in this space, because we want to build those healthy relationships so that they can feel safe and they have trust. Before I let you folks go, a huge thanks to all our ambassadors. I do want to ask you one final outro question in like one sentence, which is, why should, we do want to bring some more people into the program and keep expanding our knowledge and our science to as many places and people that we can, and many workplaces that we can, and also help the folks who want to build their LinkedIn profile and grow their business as well. So the question is, why should someone join the Jeddy Wellness Ambassador Program or work with Jeddy Wellness? One of those two questions. Feel free to answer. Maybe I'll just start with Jason first. Jason, Paulina, Hannah, Jackson will go like that. That's the question. Why should someone join the Jeddy Wellness Ambassador Program or work with Jeddy Wellness?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think really sum it up with just personal and professional growth. For me, I started it when I was a student. Well, currently still am a student, but I've grown dramatically on LinkedIn, and that's really facilitated my own business as well as brought a lot of attention to Jeddy. So it's a great place to work. It also is a great community to be in.
Amazing. Paulina.
I would say that if you want to be effective, start, focusing on workplace wellness, and Jeddy is a great spearhead towards facilitating that for your workplace environment. So no time to waste.
Love it. Thank you. Hannah.
Yeah, it's exactly that. It's such a support system and a backbone for you to learn from this fantastic community without even really trying. Like, you're exposed to so many different tools and tricks, strategies, so many evidence-based things that you see the impact in so many different workplaces, and then also learn from those for your own personal growth.
Awesome. Jackson, you've been here a few months. How are you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say we just talked about financial responsibility and the financial education. So one of the first things you learn as you start investing, things like that, is buying low, selling high. And so this is a company that addresses so many needs, so many uh, topics of conversation that need to be talked about and are now being discussed in such intelligent formats, doing the research and really making sure that everything is it's a company that, if we're pitching this to anyone else who wants to be an ambassador, it's you know, get in before it's too late. This is a model that is so impressive that it's only a matter of time before you're clamoring at the door, hoping to be here, and you didn't buy that ticket low. So uh, I've really enjoyed my time so far. And I really see the potential for this. It's such a well-rounded community where the resources that you're sharing are resources that are so effective in your work and personal life.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jackson and Jason and Paulina and Hannah and Furkhan. I know he had to leave, but when I was thinking about growing this program, I was thinking, let's get 2 or 3 people and see what happens. We also had 2 members who only stayed for the first cohort, and then they had some other responsibilities. Jason and Furkhan have stayed for a whole year now, but the goal has always been like try to get in a few people. I never really want this program to be so large that I can't handle and give the same mentorship and support. The group right now, I feel like this is a good group, but I would love to have maybe a few more join us. The commitment is very low. It's like 4 hours a month, but there's a lot of monetary and non-monetary rewards as well. And we do these LinkedIn Live events, which I promise you, I hope the next time I do this in the fall, that I will be a pro at this, because I don't know what happened. It just happened. So, anyways, thank you so much for everyone who tuned in and listened to us, the lived experiences, the leadership that we've shared. Please feel free to follow all the ambassadors. They post all kinds of amazing content, and their voices are different. So I think you'll get, as you kind of review their profiles, you'll notice that each of them has a different voice and a different style. So that's always really nice. And if you are interested in wanting to become an ambassador, reach out to any of these folks to get their pulse check. And then you can always reach out to me as well. I'm happy to help. Otherwise, the jeddywellness.com /blog page is where all the information is available. And that's where you will go to learn and read and grow your well-being, in your work environment and in your teams and in your leaders. So that's where I would recommend for you to go. If you have any other questions, please send us a DM. And I'm again so sorry that this did not work out the way that I wanted it to be, but hopefully we can watch the replay here as well as on YouTube. So that's about it from me. If there's nothing else, we can just unmute and say goodbye to our community that was listening live.
Yeah, thank you all so much.
Thanks, Hannah. Bye, everybody. Bye, Jason.
Bye, Sumana. Thank you.
Bye, Jackson. I will be
Bye,
turning this
everybody.
off. Okay, I'll be turning this off in just a second. In 2 seconds. So we'll count down to 3, 2, 1, and I will stop the live. Bye.